Kane, Morata, Lukaku, Aguero, they were the four we were featuring. Who will win the Golden Boot? Or might Thierry be someone else? Could it be Lacazette? Should we throw him in the mix after his two tonight?
Well, it's a tough one to call. I mean, it's only, you'll be guessing right now on who. And you might say Harry Kane because he won it the last two times. It's difficult to call right now, really. I wouldn't be able to say.
Who's going to get the most chances, which is a different question?
I think that if Aguero plays every single game for City, the way they're playing at the minute and the way they are opening up teams, he would have more chances. But again, it's about, converting the chances that you have. And so it's too early to call at the minute.
I would go for a toss-up between Kane and Lukaku, just the fact that I think they will play all the time. I think you've got Jesus at Man City. At times he may leave Aguero on the bench. I think with Tottenham, you know who the number one striker is. Yes, Llorente's there, but I think there's a bit of a difference. I think with Lukaku, he's playing. And them two are always going to be there. Kane takes penalties, might give him the edge. But Thierry, if you were a manager, who would you want out of them? Who would you buy out of them for?
Wow.
Well, can we throw Jesus into the mix, as you mentioned him?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, if I was a manager and I have a chance to buy those guys, oh wow, that's a good one.
That's why
we don't have time to stay there. It's not an easy one. But first and foremost, if I was a manager, I would like to play with two strikers, and I think those guys can play together. I think that Kane will be able.
You're going to be one of the managers who gets all the attackers in, aren't you?
No, but two strikers. I mean, it used to be done
pick
before.
Two of them, then?
No, I can't pick two. It's really difficult to think now. I will have to go into the discussion and who can play with who.
Well, which one would you like to partner you? Which one would you like to partner you?
Listen, the most important thing for me when you look at that, it's not about for me who's going to win the Golden Boot. How many goals are they going to score in order for their team to win the league? That's for me the most important thing at the end of the very day. Because you can win the Golden Boot 20 times. If you don't win the league at the end of the day, it doesn't really
I've asked you 4 questions. Can you please answer this one? Out of them, who do you think would suit you as a partner?
I think I would have played with all of them because I could have adjusted to them. It's true, I could have adjusted to them, so I have not a problem with any.
Who would you buy?
Well, I said Harry Kane last week, didn't I? I mean, if I was a manager now... No, I'm talking about who I would buy as a player. I think, well, one, he's got the age on Aguero. I think he's just got that focus and mentality for me. Listen, I'm just repeating myself from last week. I said Harry Kane last week, and I gave me reasons then.
Got another one for you on the striker issue. When Zlatan returns, who becomes the number one up front? Is it him or Lukaku? Thierry, shall I give it to Jamie?
No, I just think that Lukaku speaks for himself. I think he's been in the team scoring goals. I think there might be a little rotation at one point. Maybe that's when Zlatan's going to come back in. Maybe at home play under Lukaku. Maybe as a 10-ish situation. But Rome will play more often than not. That's for sure.
Let's move back down the pitch then. Jamie, what's the best centre-back pairing you've played with? Which is probably easy for you. I think I know what you'll say on that one, but against as well.
So the best centre-back I played alongside? Yeah. I'd say Sammy Hyypiä at Liverpool. At times I played with... Why? You was expecting?
No, because I thought you were going to say, and I hoped you were going to say Hyypiä.
Yeah. Listen, he was great for Liverpool. We had a decent defensive record from probably 2001 to 2009, a couple of different managers. I played with Terry and Ferdinand at times for England, but I didn't really establish myself with them to say they were my partner.
I'll give you time to think about the other part of that question while I asked.
What was the other way?
Thierry.
What was it?
Well, it was the partnership that you played against was the other bit.
Okay.
But think about that while I asked Thierry what it was like to play against Carragher and Hyypiä.
Listen,
this clip
simple.
coming in again.
No, we were talking
you
about
this clip every time he comes on.
No. No, seriously.
Peter Eagleton goes on something singing at the back.
Dave, let's now be serious. I was saying to Cara at the beginning of the show when we were changing, I was saying that I knew I was up for a game. Most of the time in this league anyway, but against him, more than not, we were going to battle with Sammy Hyypiä and whatnot. But those guys kept me on my toes, and so I had to always be ready to play Liverpool because it was always going to be a battle. No, seriously.
The best centre-back partnership, I think there was 2 who I played against. I would say Ferdinand and Vidic, and I would go John Terry and Carvalho. And I'd just go Terry Carvalho. I think Terry's my number one sort of centre-back. I think he was just slightly better than Vidic. They were the similar type of players, and Rio was a bit different. There's something about Carvalho I loved. You know what I talked about? What did I talk about today? Streetwise. I mentioned Streetwise a few times today, didn't I? Carvalho was an animal in the nicest possible way.
Sol Campbell Touré? I'm going to be biased, obviously, but I'm going to talk about those two guys.
Were they the best two that you had in your team?
At Arsenal?
Well, wherever you played.
Thuram Desailly, I'm sorry about hello. Thuram and Desailly, it's a
And when you
it's
had
another
those
level.
at the back, did you just go out thinking we're not going to
Well,
concede today?
I mentioned so many times, when you turn and you arrive in a dressing room and you see, for example, the likes of Patrick Vieira in front of that, and Makelele, and Petit, and Thuram, and Desailly at the back, and Lizarazu, and you're like, hey, listen, before anyone get past that defense, we have time to score a goal. Do you understand what I mean? And those guys were just outstanding.
You know that great team you played in, that France team?
Yeah.
After that just came that Spanish team.
Yeah.
You know, if you're playing each other at your peak, you think you'd
I always going to fancy our chances because we played them. We in 2006, they were getting there and we were about to kind of die after that. We went to the final, we lost, but we beat them. But hey, I don't know if we would have seen a lot of the ball playing against that team, but they would have had to battle against us and we would have had something to offer on the counter against us also. It would have been a great battle, in all fairness.
I've gone early on this one. Thierry, which member of the Invincibles would make the biggest impact in terms of performances and results to the current Arsenal side? And why? Apart from yourself.
I can mention a few. Patrick Vieira. You know, I will go with the big man.
Do you think he could turn this team into
He will turn any
title
team into a better team. You know, Patrick Vieira was just a joke for me. At times, when he said, I'm going to go and get that ball, wherever the ball was, he was going and get that ball. That's how great he was. He was playing alone in midfield, turning and counter for a team to a counter for us straight away. He gave me so many goals like that where a team, I was like, okay, we're going to counter. You went, get the ball, turn, just pass people like they were not there. And so I would say, I mean, I can mention a lot, but I would say the big man, the skip, would have changed that team in an instant.
Jamie, you worked with Rafa Benitez at Liverpool. Based on his time so far at Newcastle, how long is it going to take him to turn Newcastle into a genuine force?
Depends how long it takes Mike Ashley to put his hand in his pocket, doesn't it? I mean, listen, you can't make Newcastle into a force if you buy in players. I mean, Joselu comes from a squad player at Stoke. Newcastle are probably going to rival this season, maybe in the bottom half of the table. I don't think there's any chance of Newcastle going down just because of the manager. He's very pragmatic. He'll make it very difficult. I don't think Liverpool have got an easy game going to St James's at the weekend because you've seen how it was with Tottenham before they went down to 10 men. So I think every game Newcastle have, you'll very rarely see them lose 4 or 5-0, as you might see teams in the bottom half of the table. I think that's where Newcastle will be. I don't expect them to see in a relegation fight. But if I'm being totally honest, I don't see Rafa Benitez at Newcastle over a sustained long period of time. I think eventually something will happen with him and the owner. And I think, unfortunately for Newcastle, this is not going to be a happy and long marriage, so enjoy it while he's here.
OK. We've got one from us now because, yeah, a bit different. Here at Sky, we are supporting National Inclusion Week. So, Thierry first, what's the best team spirit that you've experienced?
Well, the one that wins. That's simple. Listen, I always used to say, people always like to raise problems when the team is losing. But sometimes those problems were already there when you were winning. But because you were winning, no one sees them. As soon as you lose, oh my God, those guys always sit together. But we always sat together. Do you understand what I mean? And so it is always going to be a great atmosphere, a great dressing room togetherness when you win.
But sometimes when you went with the national team, did you feel the frictions there and that almost got in the way of you performing as a team sometimes? We
never had any. For example, if a guy plays for Paris Saint-Germain, another one plays for Marseille, or we had a battle at the weekend, when we go in the national team, we go in the national team. I always found weird when we were playing you guys or we were playing United, the guys were not saying hi to each other in the tunnel. and I was like, why are you not saying hi to each other? And us, you know, I'm playing against Galatasaray.
I think that's strange. Why would you say hello in the tunnel?
No, but that's a difference of culture. I thought it was weird. If I see Gallas and I battle against him, but if I see Gallas, I went to school with him since I'm 13 years old. I'm not going to say hi to him. Why? Because we have
Even
to battle.
Even more reason not to say hello.
But you know what I mean? It was different, and it's just you know, dressing room banter is as fragile as you winning. Not winning, or if you lose, then you go in another way. If you win, then everyone is happy. You would have the usual one, the French guys sitting together. We don't want to be disrespectful to anyone, but it's like if you go somewhere and you start to speak in French to Jamie because you're going to speak to him in English because that's just the way it is. You don't want to be disrespectful to anyone. Or maybe not.
Just struggling in English.
I was going to say, I'm glad you said that. but
no, but you know what I mean.
Take that Arsenal dressing room.
Yeah.
Did you have the best of both worlds? Because you had those strong English characters, that culture, and also the strong French culture.
I said it so many times. At one point, the mix was right. You had those guys that been there for a very long time, and us arriving with our little culture. When I first arrived at Arsenal, the English players were like, morning. And I was like, oh, they don't shake hands here? What is this? And then we arrived with the French shaking hand, hello to everybody, and everybody started to do it. And there was a mix, you know, of good English culture and a bit of flair, I would say. And that's why I think we were at our best at the end of the day, on and off the field.
Is that the answer? The best of everyone's culture?
Yeah, I think so. But when you talk about the French shaking hands, we didn't have them French players. I can assure you, some of the ones we had, we weren't shaking hands with anyone. But listen, I totally get you. I mean, for me, if I go to my best team sort of spirit, I think the best thing you can ever do in football is Thierry spot on. When you win, everyone's just in a good mood, everyone's happy. But there's nothing better in football than win with what I would call your mates. And I would class the 2001 team we had was my mates in terms of Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen was there, Stevie Gerrard, Danny Murphy, Jamie Redknapp was there, sprinkled with foreign players who mixed in, Didier Mann, Sammy Hippier, these type of people. And I think it's a great thing to share success with people, you know, you've known for a long time.